It's our second to last week of Business 630 Corporate Finance Study for this Spring 2 session. Hello again, everybody. This is Professor Hasse. It's our Week 7 introduction video for the week of May 15th to the May 21st. You have two current case studies going on. One is case number 3, a financial statement analysis of your firm, answering a series of questions and interpretations. It's due this Sunday, May 21st in PowerPoint format. We had an introduction video to that over last weekend, and hopefully you're proceeding with that study. I will have my student hours this Thursday night, May 18th from 6 to 8 p.m. if you have any questions or concerns about that study. You're also working on the electrics case, our course assessment case where you are reviewing a new business plan strategy for a company, namely Electrics Incorporated, and trying to select two different versions of a product that they're thinking about investing in, a large investment, $17 million. Your job is to do the analytical or capital budget analysis of return on investment and then answer a series of questions in APA format. That is due Sunday, May 28th, and we will have two review sessions this coming weekend as part of my weekend update video on Friday, May 19th. I will have some additional review on that topic, and we will have a Zoom case review session Saturday afternoon, May 20th from 1 to 2:30 p.m. that will be recorded if you cannot make that review session, where I have a little spiel of a review for that, and I'll answer any questions that I may have from all of you about that case. So that's where we stand right now, heading into our second to final week. Two more assessments, case 3 and the electrics case, to wrap up our study. In regards to our studies, this week is talking about strategies that drive capital decision making. And our main subject of our discussion today in our introduction video for week 7 is the various articles I have posted over the last 2 weeks and how they might help you with your case studies these last couple weeks, and also how they prepare you for understanding strategies that drive capital decision. Then on our weekend update, additionally, I'll also talk about other ways of developing capital decision making through mergers and acquisitions, different types of takeover attempts or acquisitions, and also leasing. And that'll be the subject of my weekend update video, along with the electrics case, posted this Friday, May 19th. So let's take a look at these articles and what they can bring us in adding a little bit to our studies these last couple of weeks of Business 630. These articles have been posted in weeks 6 and 7 of your Blackboard files, and I post them to give real world interpretations of some of the topics we're looking at these end weeks of our Business 630 class, and also some of the, as a matter of fact, many of the information in these articles could aid you in your analysis and interpretation of case 3 and the electrics case, and answering and providing interpretation of the information you are finding in those cases. The first article is by Mr. Paul Brown, called A Model for Effective Financial Analysis. It's a way of approaching financial analysis to identify common or economic characteristics in the firm's particular industry relative to that firm, identify the strategies that a firm pursues to gain competitive advantage by being efficient, understand the financial statements of a firm and cleanse them for non-reoccurring or unusual items, assess the profitability and risk of the firm, and make relevant assessments for strategy and decision-making in the company. This is a great article. It talks about ways of looking at financial analysis to find efficiencies, to find critical thinking in your strategic thinking. And I urge you to read this. It might help you in some of our cases. The second article is called Analysis of Financial Statements, the Importance of Financial Indicators in an Entity or an Enterprise. The abstract of this, it's written in basically APA format by these writers. The main purpose of this study is to determine, forecast, and evaluate the best of economic conditions and companies' performance in the future. The other purpose of this study is to analyze the financial statement and then give informative information for financial managers to make thorough decisions about their business. Very similar to what you're doing in case number 3. So read this article. This might prove beneficial to some of your interpretations. Remember, case number 3 is in PowerPoint format, where you need to have basic template information about your equations and then condensed interpretation. This article, the first 2 articles we're talking about this week, are a way to maybe provide condensed information and how to go about doing that. The next article is Restoring Trust After the Bubble. Now, I thought this was a good article, even though it's quite old. This is coming out of the pandemic, and how a company uses their financial information and using their performance to gain trust back into their markets and their customers after a serious trouble like a pandemic. It's restoring trust after the bubble. How various ways a company can restore, in the market and industry they're in, confidence in their managing their business. I don't know if this article will help you much with our case. As a matter of fact, I don't think it will. But it's a good article just to get a different perspective of how to look at the results of a business after controversy, after a major setback like a pandemic. Good article. The next article is a very good article, especially some of you might use this in your own personal or your own business management. It's called the Balance Scorecard, Measures that Drive Performance. In case number 3, we're looking at the results of company in 4 different categories. If you notice, you take one equation from each one of those categories, and that's financial statement analysis. I'm not asking you to do anything else in that case, but this balance scorecard is another way of looking at financial statements and financial performance. And many companies coming out of the pandemic have been using this instead of those traditional financial statement analytical equations. And let me just show you the brief of this. It's taking a look at performance measures of companies. It's called the Balance Scorecard. And it looks at 4 key areas that drive the performance of a company. Financial perspective. How do we look to the shareholders or the investors of the company? Customer perspective. How do customers see our business? Internal business perspective. What must we excel at? What is our things that we do well? And innovation and learning perspective. Can we continue to improve and create value? So instead of doing traditional like SWOT analysis, remember SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats to the business, and ways of analyzing those relative to the financial performance of the company. Instead of looking at traditional financial statement analysis like you're doing in case number 3, which is good to do because it's building your base for financial statement analytical skills. But there's another way of looking at it in these answering these perspectives about finance, customers, your internal business, and innovation and learning. Are you growing in your business? This might prove interesting with your own careers. And also, it's another way of looking at maybe analyzing the questions of the electrics case, something you might want to think about. Great article about different ways of looking at financial performance. And then finally, strategies to implement without disrupting your organization. I can't tell you how many businesses I've been associated with, know of in my own network, that whenever you get a new boss, a new leader, a new department head, there's always uneasiness in the organization. There's always, oh, am I going to get canned? Or what's going to change now? Are we ready? And the company starts acting very timid, not as aggressive. What strategies are there that you will not, that cannot disrupt your organization, that prove positive to your organization? Many of you have worked in businesses or in working business now where there's been a change in leadership, a change in the direction of the company. And many times it takes a company years to get over this, to get through it. At the University of La Verne right now, this week and next week, we're selecting a new president after 12 years. President Lieberman is retiring. And now it's time for new leadership to come into the university. And everybody at the university, including yours truly, is kind of like, all right, now what's going to happen? How is my job here at the university changing? How is our culture at the university changing? For the good, for the bad? I don't know. So one of the key things of being a corporate strategist, a leader, is finding ways to aid in the growth of your business without freaking people out in the organization, without disrupting your organization, a key to leadership. This is a great article that addresses that, and I urge you to look at it. There's two business models talked about in this article, where you centralize your business by function versus decentralizing your business by product. In other words, centralizing your business, you have a CEO, you have a CFO, you have vice presidents of marketing, manufacturing, distribution, sales. That's a pretty centralized approach. Okay. But then what a lot of companies do because of that centralization, then they want a full perspective by decentralizing their products or regions, breaking the business down from VPs where you have different regions, West region, East region of the company reporting to those VPs, or you allocate product groups to those VPs. You decentralize your organization by that way. This provides growth, change within the individual structures, and it's another way of intensifying your view of the organization. So this article is interesting, and I find it very interesting. Again, you might be able to apply it, and you could apply it to the Electrics case, but also it's just a good read for future of your own leadership capabilities within your organization or an organization you may be joining. Great article, one to keep down the road. So these 5 articles in week 6 and 7, I urge you to read this weekend or this week. Takes about maybe an hour to do that. But the information and the knowledge you get from these and these different interpretation is kind of like what I'm asking you to do in case 3 and Electrics. Different ways of looking at situations, different ways of financial analysis, different ways of strategy, different ways of interpreting measurements of your organization. Now, I'm not asking you to do all those in the cases, but I want you to have that fresh perspective as you look at the financial statement analytics of your company, and a fresh perspective when you look at what Electrics has to do and what will make them successful by your selection of which product you're going to recommend. So these are set the base by which how you're interpreting and the thinking I'm looking at for your various case studies. So read these articles. They can be very helpful. And also, as I said, very helpful down the road in your career. So as we proceed with the next to last week of our course and preparing us for the last week of finishing up our Electrics case, and if required, extensions on your case 3, we're looking at interpretation. We're looking at your perspective of the information you're determining or given. And as we look at this, we're looking at it into the perspective of how does it make our firm, whatever we're looking at, the firm that you selected or the firm of Electrics case, be more efficient and more competitive to the industry and the competition around them. A key area of corporate financial management. A couple of things have been posted this week 7 that you should be aware of. In the course syllabus and calendar information, there's the links to our course evaluations. In other words, if you're in 2626 CRN or 1111, which most of you are in CRN for this 630 class, click on these links and give an evaluation of our course. Again, this is voluntary. It's not required. There's no grade. It's anonymous. I don't even know the results until July. But it helps everybody at the university, and it's a way of you giving feedback about this course and about the MBA program that you are in. Please take a couple of moments before next Tuesday, the 30th, or a week from Tuesday. You got 10 days to figure this out, and fill this out and submit it. It's very helpful to me, and I would appreciate it. You probably all have received an email to this link, but here it is also located in Blackboard that you can click on it and complete the evaluation before our class concludes on May 30th, excuse me, on June 1st, when I post the grades for this course. But we have a lot of work to do until then. Make sure you are available if you'd like have questions for me in this Thursday evening student hours. I will have a weekend update video posted Friday afternoon, which will help you with mergers and acquisitions, other capital strategies, and the electrics case, and also the Zoom review session Saturday afternoon for the electrics case. All this as we head into the final week of our class. And please, I urge you, if any of you have confusion, time management issues, any other issues that you might need my recommendation or help on, please don't wait to the last couple of days of class. Take care of them now. Be proactive instead of reactive in your strategies. Boy, that's one thing I learned in MBA school so many years ago. To be proactive and aggressive, you're much better off, and you're showing positive strategies instead of being reactive and waiting for things to go wrong or happen, and then you're too slow on the reaction. It's a good tip, and many of you probably already have heard this before, but it's a good tip that I live by in my own strategic planning of my own business affairs. All right, everybody, have a great week. We'll see you again on Friday. Adios.